Yay, it worked. All right. So sorry about that. I said go live and it went, "Ugh," and that was about it. But taking it down, bringing it back up seems to work. So, let me know, Tina, if you can hear me okay, and if you can see me okay by typing in the chat box, that'd be great. All righty. Awesome. Great. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, I am Melissa, and it's wonderful to have you here. I am the owner of Healing Haus Yoga, and we have a wonderful little mini yoga retreat coming up on April 9th that I'm super excited about. And I have a lot of other people signed up that are also super excited about, but I've had a couple of questions and I've had a couple of people not quite sure if it's something that's really right for them. So I wanted to come on this evening and, say hello, let you put a face to the name, and go over a few things that we'll be going into on our yoga retreat and that are just in general good old fashioned good things to know when it comes to managing your stress. Really great secret that not many people are aware of, or if they are, haven't tried it, haven't really learned how to harness the power of it. So we will be going over that, going to kind of reveal to you some of the secrets that I use in handling stress. The event that we're going to be talking about, the thing that we're working our way up to, is called Green Yoga. It is a mini yoga retreat where I will be leading everyone through a couple yoga sequences, meditation, and providing a catered lunch. But the work that we will really be doing is learning about managing stress and how to be present in life and exactly why it's so important and why that helps us manage stress, anxiety, and a whole other slew of issues that come along with it, both health related, physical health related, as well as mental health. So, some people it manifests in overeating, some people it manifests in undereating. Either way, our bodies aren't healthy. Sometimes we have aches, we have pains, we can't sleep at night. All of these things can come about because we're just too stressed out. There's too many stimuluses coming at us constantly, and we're just not able to mm, handle them very well. Our coping mechanisms are such that they still interfere with our daily lives and our well-being. So tonight, we're going to talk about some of those things. So we're going to talk about some of the insight and some of the mechanisms that you can employ starting right now, this very second, that will help you manage stress here in the next few minutes, things that are going on currently, and some point of view that will also help you go, maybe that's not such a big deal, or maybe I can let that ride. I can sit with it and make my way through it rather than becoming overwhelmed, shutting down, getting sick, and checking out. Um, I will also be answering any questions you might have regarding the event, like what to maybe wear, what types of food we'll be having. Do you need sunscreen? Do you need bug spray? All those kinds of things. I will be going over this after at the very end. Okay, so the secret to managing stress is one, taking responsibility for how we ended up where we are, not blaming ourselves, not beating ourselves up, but just acknowledging the role we played in getting ourselves into this current situation. But maybe more importantly, and what we'll really be discussing today, is being present, to live presently. And the reason for that is because all stress, all anxiety comes from either worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, what an outcome is going to be, or fretting over something that's already happened. And either way, when we do this time travel, when we, move to the future in our minds or go to the past in our minds, what's happening is we're not living in the present and we are upset or scared of or worried about something that actually doesn't even exist. It's already gone or it hasn't happened yet. And we're unable to deal with what's going on right now, right in front of us. So, most of the time, you'll find when living presently or acting presently, moving mindfully, that most of your stress, most of your anxiety is going to slip away. Because if you are in the present, you're not tied up in what might happen and you're not worried about what already did. And in the present, there is peace. That's why they call it the present. A little play on words if you want. It's a gift. And so we can then just enjoy it. This morning I was on my way to work. I'm an ultrasound tech. And so that means that I use ultrasound to image different parts of the body, soft tissue, and I help provide healthcare to hundreds of people all week long. And I got in the car and there was the most beautiful piece of music on. And I thought, wow, that's so great how much I was enjoying it. And then I started thinking about other things and getting wrapped up in other things. And before I realized it, I'd missed the piece of music. I missed the joy that was in that piece of music. And I went, oh, shoot. Well, better practice. Go back to practicing living in the present. And so living in the present is a practice. You will begin it, you will forget you're doing it, you'll remember, you'll come back to it. And it's something that we do over time, but just doing it a few seconds a day or just remembering to try it during the day or when we find ourselves starting to stress out brings us back to the present, alleviates the stress, or even if the present moment is a stressful or dangerous one, it brings all of us into the moment so that we are fully capable, fully armed to handle whatever is in front of us. And that's why being present is so, so, so important. And why it helps us make it through. It helps us keep, because we stay out of our heads, get back into our bodies and come back into the world. We get wrapped up in our minds. We lose track of what's going on, what's important, sometimes even where we are. And so, you know, it just, as you know, it causes a whole bunch of stress, causes overwhelm, and we start to feel like we get stuck. We're scared of a change. We start compensating or coping by eating or lashing out, and it just becomes a little bit of a spiral. But simply practicing being present and staying in this space right here, right now, will alleviate pretty much every bit of stress that you could come in contact with. And it also teaches you and makes you capable of sitting with and taking on a difficult position or a difficult scenario. It makes you fully capable of doing that because you yourself isn't split into multiple places and in multiple pieces. You are all here right now, ready and willing to take on whatever it is that's going on that requires your attention. Okay. So stress stress initiates the fight or flight response. It doesn't matter if it's big or little. Your heart starts beating faster, your digestion starts to shut down, your sweat glands engage, your body tenses. A lot of times we tense up in the shoulders and the back. We get just physically geared and ready to go, whether we're going to run away, shut down, or fight the situation out. That sequence gets launched when we encounter a stressor. And one of the ways to think about it is the body is ultimately a machine. We are not this body, right? We live somewhere else. Consciousness comes from somewhere else, and this body carries out what we want to do or sometimes don't want to do. But that being said, if we think of the body as a machine, when we engage in stressful situations or they come upon us, that fight or flight response initiates. Well, there's counter code for that. And the counter code for that is engagement of the parasympathetic nervous system. One of the things that happens when you engage your parasympathetic nervous system is stimulating of the vagus nerve, which engages a calming response. Start to come down off the ceiling, relax, come back to our happy space, and everything's okay again. Of course, might get triggered again, and there we off we go back into the fight or flight response. And constant space in the fight or flight response causes a state of irritation or inflammation in the body. Inflammation, that's what I was looking for, which can lead to a whole host of health problems, going all the way from psoriasis, obesity, arthritis, heart attack, stroke. So it behooves us to learn how to manage that stress, how to turn off that fight or flight response, how to engage the parasympathetic nervous system and come down, take our claws out of the ceiling, come back to the present, and come back to a peaceful state. So there's lots of ways that we can do this. And we'll be going over more of them in our mini retreat in green yoga. But one thing that's super easy, you can do this anywhere you are. If you have 30 seconds or 3 hours, you can do this. And what I'm talking about is breath. Becoming aware of the breath, bringing your attention to your breath. And simply by becoming aware of the breath, lengthens the breath. And this movement of the diaphragm and your chest filling and a deep breath being taken, it stimulates the vagus nerve, which in turn initiates the parasympathetic nervous system, bringing you down off the ceiling and out of the fight or flight response. Now, this doesn't mean that we are necessarily pushing away or running from the stressor, but we're becoming aware, coming back into our body, coming into the present, and preparing ourselves to fully deal with whatever situation is in front of us, if it actually is even in front of us. Because remember, if we were time traveling and worrying about something in the future, you are worrying about something that doesn't exist anyway. So you can just come back to this space, get some perspective, and carry on. So let's talk about our breath. It's more than just the inhale and the exhale. It's also the spaces in between. So, just as an exercise that we'll do together, bring your awareness to your breath. Don't try to change it, just notice it. You can close your eyes, choose a fixed point, whatever makes you the most comfortable, and just observe it. And you'll notice that there is a split second, top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale, where you are in complete stillness. We're talking that space in between heartbeats, in between breaths, and it's fleeting, but it's there. And you can notice the feeling of the in-breath and how it feels to expand the chest, expand the belly, take in that oxygen. It feels just exhilarating. And then the feeling of the exhale, which is absolute and total relief. Just letting that breath fall out of your lungs. So now that we have become aware of the quality of our breath, let's take just 3 deep breaths together. Inhaling through your nose, filling all the way up, noticing that space at the top, and then exhaling through the mouth, just letting that breath fall out of you. Let's do the next one. Inhale, fill up, and exhale. Last time, inhale and exhale. Take a second, take stock of how you feel after those 3 breaths and before. Even if you weren't wired and ready for fight or flight, chances are you still are in a more relaxed state than you were before we took those 3 deep breaths. You might notice that your muscles are less tense, your posture is less tense. Maybe the most subtle alleviation of pain that you might have had in your back or neck. And so, what we've done there is push the buttons and trigger the parasympathetic nerve response, decommissioning the flight sequence, and brought ourselves into the present. And so, you can see how. You can see how by just almost no time at all, you can employ this practice of breathing and living presently, and how helpful that can be whenever you begin to approach stressful situations or get tied up in your own thoughts that are causing you stress. So we'll be going over this more deeply in Green Yoga on April 9th. We'll also be learning about the power of intentional movement, intentional eating, and a couple of other things that will arm you for a competent, stress free life. Because it will be outside, I would suggest appropriate clothing. Yes, we're doing yoga, um, but we will be in the sun. So if you know you're sensitive to sun, maybe covering yourself, wearing a hat, sunscreen for sure. I don't know about mosquitoes, but it is Texas and we won't be very far from the water. So I would maybe bring some bug spray just in case, and sturdy shoes. While we will be on our mats for the practices, we will be leaving them for the walking meditation and for our meal. And after, you guys will have full access to the park. And because it's Texas and it's, untouched lands, there are some spikies, some little prickly pears and cactus, and you don't want to trot upon those. So definitely bring some shoes for when you do step off of your mat. Um, the lunch that we will be having is going to be a refreshing and cleansing plant-based meal, and it's going to be provided by the Pink Cactus DFW. Miss Kelly Seville is going to be doing that, an incredibly talented young lady that I have the pleasure of knowing. I'll provide you links for her stuff here if you want to check her out. And if you do want to go ahead and save your spot for Green Yoga, I can go ahead and put the link here now for you to. And this is a direct share to the booking. I have had a little bit of confusion from a few people. If you are not already a Healing Haus member, it's going to ask you to register. So you can, when you go here, you'll log in or register in order to book the event. So it'll have you fill out a little form. You'll submit that. It'll send you a confirmation email. And what that does is set up your profile. And then once you have a profile, that allows you to book any event or class that I put on. So this Momo Yoga link is actually a scheduling software that I use in order to book my classes, book the events, and keep everybody up to date. Similar to if you've ever used the Mind Body app, it's the same sort of thing, just a different company. So you'll want to make your profile if you don't have one already, and then you can go back to the event and book the product, buy the pass for the class, and that will register you. And then I will be keeping everybody up to date via emails as far as directions go, and suggestions on the weather for that day. If we have to have a rain check, I'm not expecting one, but if for any reason we have to reschedule, I will be communicating those things to you through emails once you've registered and saved your spot. Registration does close here on the 20th. So, because the caterer does need a head count, otherwise I would keep it open up until the moment of registration. But because we're going to have a wonderful catered lunch, she does need to know how many people she'll be cooking for. So, registration closes at the end of the day on the 20th. And then I will be in touch with you guys as far as details going forward from that. And you can get that through that link that I have shared there. And then if you go to Instagram, if you want to check out Kelly's business and see some of the amazing work she's done, so you can kind of see what you're in for, you will search at the pink cactus.dfw. And that's going to be on Instagram. You can also go to the Fort Worth Nature Center if you want any information from them. I'll share that link here as well. Just grab it real quick. So that's the link for the Fort Worth Nature Center. If you want information on the park, the sort of the things that are allowed. If you can bring your dog, they do have to remain on a leash. And there is, I believe, a $1 fee additional to bring your pet if you want to. But you can bring your pets if you want, which I love. I bring my little guy all the time whenever I go. No alcohol, unfortunately, is allowed. So no glass bottles, I believe, as well. But you can get all kinds of information, any information you might need about the Nature Center using that link that I've provided there. So if we have any questions, I'll be happy to answer questions. Otherwise, I think that we can wrap this up and let you get on with your evening and, go pick out your outfit for green yoga, because I know you'll all want to be, pulling out your yoga clothes that we haven't been able to wear in public for a long time. I know I will be. Okay. I guess I've talked enough, and I think I've covered just about everything. Again, if you do have questions in the future, please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at Melissa Harland at healinghouseyoga.com. I'll send this out. Make sure I spelled my name right. Healinghouseyoga.com. That's my email. Or you feel free to give me a call or text me here at this is my cell. Feel free to give me a call there. Um, I really enjoyed talking to you guys today. Thank you so much for visiting with me. And I hope to see you at Green Yoga on April 9th. And for those of you that have already registered, I'm really looking forward to it. So until then, be well.